Iterative control structure has for, while, and do while. So basically, any loop has three things. One is initialization, and second is condition, and third one is a increment or a decrement. If we're able to familiarize any one of the loop, and it's easy to understand other two loops as well. And from one loop to another loop, conversion is also easy. So this is the basic structure before we start. So we're going to print numbers from 1 to n. If n value is 5, it has to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So very simple program. We are using iterative control structure, and we are going to use, in that we're going to try for loop first. So basically for has three sections. For not just for, any loop has three sections. We know that it has initialization, condition variable, and increment or a decrement, right? Look at this. This is it, right? So we need to have value for n. So n is n value, we have to take value. Then we check, we say we're going to start from I. Iteration, any variable you can say int I is equal to 0. Initialization is done here. Then we say I is less than or is equal to 5, not 5, n. Then we say I plus plus. So now three things is on. For loop is only loop which will have all the three at one line. So three parameters, three values are separated by two semicolons. Variable initialization takes place here. Then condition, the particular variable is check. We check a condition. Then we have an increment or a decrement operator. In this program, we have increment operator. Now we say, then we are simply going to print numbers from 1 to n. Let's say print. We are simply print the system dot out dot println. And we say I, nothing else. So let's see how this works. So for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, right? So this is going to be first iteration. The first step, the value of I is 0, right? Yes. Then we check I is less than or equal to n. So let's assume n value is for the first during the first iteration or before the first iteration, value of I is 0 and value of n is, let's assume value of n is 3, right? So for this is first iteration. So when this is during the first iteration, right? During the first iteration, the value of I is 0. 0 is less than or is equal to 3. Or let's say instead of 0, we'll have to print numbers from 1 to n. So we'll have to change the I value to 1. So I value is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 3. Condition is true. When the condition is true, from for loop, it checks the condition, it comes down. We say print value of 5. Simply it prints numbers. So output will be, simply it will print output. Let's have space for output here. So output. So it will print 1. Then what happens? Second iteration. Then we say after printing the value, it goes up. It increments the value of I plus plus, which means I is equal to I plus 1. So value of I will become 2. Now then we have a condition check, right? 2 is less than or is equal to 3. Yes, condition is true. Then what happens? It prints the value in the next line. Then what happens? Then increments the value, right? I plus plus. So what will happen? The value of I become 3. Then third iteration, right? I is less than or is equal to 3. 3 is less than or is equal to 3. Condition is true. If the condition is true, what happens? It comes down, prints the value 3. Then in the third iteration itself, I plus plus. Value of I gets incremented. So I becomes 4. Then in the fourth iteration, what you do, you check 4. I is less than or is equal to n. 4 is less than or is n value remains same 3. Condition false. So the process gets terminated. So the output will be 1, 2, 3. If the value of n is 5, it prints value up to 5. So only thing is we'll have to have this I plus plus there in the first iteration itself. So what in every single iteration, what happens is initialization is done only once. Once it is initialized, then it is put aside. Then condition is checked. If the condition is true, it comes down, it prints the value, then increments the variable. Then comes down. Then condition is checked. If condition is true, prints the result. The body of the loop is executed. Then increment the value, I value. Then goes back and checks the condition. If the condition is true, it executes the body of the loop. Then after executing the body of the loop, here execution is simply printing a number. After executing the body of the loop, it goes up, increments the I1. This is how the entire flow works. Look at this, the program is ready to run. We have compiled it and we are running it now. We will have to enter value for n. So it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to run it again, enter value for 90. It prints up to 90. Look at this. So only these two lines of code does this entire operation. So we can use it effectively to solve any bigger problems too. Right? So if you're able to understand this loop, right? One loop, and it is easy to convert from one to another. In this example, let me convert. See, if you're going to take initialization. So initialization, let me keep it at the top. Int I is equal to 1. Let me keep it at the top. Then let me take, this is executed after. See, logically what happens is the for loop can also be written like this. Look at this. For loop can also be written like this. So initialization is done only once. So we keep it at the above for loop. So initialization is used only once. So we keep it above for loop. Then here in the above, instead of for loop, we can have here take this for and the condition is checked. We place it within this. Remember, in the for loop, all the three are optional. If you go back and remember the increment operation, it is done only at the end of after executing the print statement. This increment operation was taking place. So what we can do is keep initialization at the top, place the condition within the parenthesis of for, then increment, keep this as the last statement of the loop. So it works this way. So now it's very simple. For loop can also be written like this. If you're able to understand this, then it's easy. All you need to do is just replace for to while and remove these two semicolons. So it's easy to convert from for loop to while loop. You can save this and run this as well. Compile it, run it. 40 and gives us like this. Then if the condition is wrong, right, look at this example, be it a for and while, it comes under category, do while comes under different category. Now look at this, I instead of less than or equal to n, if I say greater than or equal to n, the value of I is 0, value of I is 1, if n value is 5, 1 greater than or equal to 5, condition is wrong, right? Now we are purposely setting this. Now I have set a wrong condition. I'm going to set a wrong condition. Compile it, run this program. Right, run this program. Value for n is 5. 1. So now the condition is 1 is greater than or equal to 5. No, 1 is not greater than or equal to 5. So what happens? Nothing gets executed. Right? So if the condition is wrong in the while or for while, the body of the loop is not executed at all. Remember this. If the condition is wrong in a for or while loop, the body of the loop is not at all executed. Right? Now how to write from, now we are able to convert from for to while loop. Now we are going to convert while to do while loop. You take this out. With this while section alone, you'll have to take this out. You place do. Then when the closing this curly braces, right? Here you place the while, then put a semicolon. Simple. Where while was there, you will have to replace it with do, and you will have to place while at the end. So this is very simple. So rest all same. Initialization remains same. Increment is there. Condition is checked at the end. Right? Here, look at this. Here also the condition is wrong. Right? But the difference between I'm going to tell you how it is different from that. Look at this. I'm going to enter 5. It has to give us a wrong value. It should not give us any output, but it is giving 1. Why? Because the body of the loop in the do while is executed at least once, even if the condition is wrong. Why? Because you say do, it does it. It does execute the body of the statement, then checks the condition. Previously, which was not the case. Both in while and for, the condition was checked, then the body of the loop was executed. But here, condition is checked after executing first time of the loop. Right? The loop body of the loop is executed once, then condition is checked. If the condition is right, then it continue executing. If the condition is wrong, it stops the process. Right? If it said that's less than or equal to 5, Then what happens? Compile it again, run it now, right? Well, return value for n 6. What happens? It executes. So both are same if the condition is wrong, right? But if the condition is wrong, you can place while and for in a category, do while in a different category. Remember, in do while loop, the body of the loop is executed at least once, even if the condition is wrong.